everyone, and welcome to Bash DAW Masterclasses. I'm your DAW Guru Bailey, and today we're going to go over how to make Slap House from scratch. So let's get to it. So first of all, in Slap House, it's generally like a sort of house beat with a simple kick and snare. So we're just going to go over that just now. So basically, in Slap House, the kick and the snare are very important because it's part of house music. It's generally new, and here is the kicks here that we're going to have a look at. So we need to find a kick that has, a punchy, it's quite punchy and has got a good groove to it. So let's have a look at these. So there's a couple of kicks we can pick. So let's just have a look at some other kicks and just be inspired, and we'll go back to these ones up here. Sometimes loops are quite useful if you're trying to find an idea, get an idea of what sort of beat you want. So we've got like build-ups, but that's for later, and there's tops and there's full on ones. So in general, the tempo is about 124. We can go over the metronome just like this. You might have a metronome on Ableton or whatever, but on FL mainly is the metronome button right here. And basically you hit spacebar. So yeah, you think of songs that are made by Imanbek and all that, they're generally about 124 BPM. So you've got to try and find something that's roughly about that. So like for this for example. Like that one generally does sound quite, even though it is a G house for doing slap house, it does kind of sound that sort of slap house feel to it. Let's have a look at this other one here. I do feel kind of inspired to use this G house full drumlet, but I want to show you like a really in-depth, detailed way of doing it. So basically, we can do a kind of like, let's see which one. I think the house kick is usually good. So we'll go for this one. The next one we're going to go for is, we need a snare. So a basic snare, let's look at these. Shout out to Cymatics for all these packs. You can get them on the link down in the description, but they're actually absolutely free. I'll just link you to their website, and they have all the packs available that I am showcasing right now. Sometimes it's good to repeat the patterns like as they would sound like. So basically, you have to try and find I like the tight snare. It's nice. It'll probably contrast well with this house kick that we have here. So now what we're going to do now is we're going to get rid of this. So now what we're going to do is find like a closed hi-hat. So that sounds alright. Some of it's quite short and quite snappy, if you know what I mean. I like this one, or no, I like that one. It was quite nice. Yeah. So let's put this all together. So this is just the basic beat. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm basically going to set them out in a 1, 2, 3, 4 formation. So generally what you want is you want them to be all in one bar. Make sure pencil. If you don't have FL, obviously you'll have to have a pencil or something that, or a draw icon, whatever is on your DAW, is generally like this. So you should generally have these four like this, for example. And if we so yeah, we have basic 4 to the floor beat. And now what we want to add now is you want to add your snare. So in this case I'm gonna use this. So there we go. That's nice. Now let's add a little bit of hi-hats into the mix. So what you want to do is you want to add these hi-hats generally in between these two, the space between the first kick and the second kick, which is about the third bar of, you'll get, I mean, this part of this whole entire bar. So let's play it out now. This is just a rough idea of what your this is what your beat would mainly be like. So let's get on with how to make an intro to this slap house beat. So genuinely, that if it doesn't reach that point there, it's not 124. So this is 128 as it says on the thing, on the sample. So let's try and get this time checked. So what we do is simply if you move that, it makes quicker. If you move the time longer, it makes it slower. But that's what we want, because that's 124 now that we've made it. We can hear the before and after, but we've already heard before, so let's hear it afterwards. There we go. Basic. Add the slap house to it, and I think it will sound decent enough. So let's add the drums to it as well and see if it sounds any good. So what I can do with this, instead of actually playing this sample, I can actually manipulate this into becoming a whole lot different. So I use the cut tool, or whatever you use for a cut, and you want to cut little precise bits to make it, and just adjust it to your liking in terms of the slap house arrangement. So I'll play it through and I'll be back in a bit, and once I've sorted this out. So there we have it, folks. This is just a basic slap house rhythm, not too exciting, but this is just basically how we start off with a sort of, not a sort of introduction, but this is just me showing you, this is just an example of how intro, no, this is just an example of how the beat incorporates with the actual bass line itself. So let's add the snares. Now let's add some hi-hats. Now I'm going to show you how Imanbek really does the whole sort of structure. It's not going to sound as good as his, but it's going to just give you an idea of what it does sound like. So I'll just show you it right now. And there you have it. So now we're going to move on to the actual intro. We're going to save this for now because we will need it later. All you do is you do Control C and it copies it. So that'll be that. Can't promise you anything if you delete it because it might not come back again. So it's probably best saving your projects as well. And all you have to do is you do Control S and it brings up all of this that you need. So all that, and you just pick your save location, whatever it may be. For example, let's save it to unfinished. And we just hit save. Or you just title it whatever you want. So, for example, let's put in Slap House. All these other projects, those are just other things that I like. So, let's save that now. And it is saved. And as we can see, the hint panel, if you have FL Studio or whatever you have, it'll just say Slap House FLP, or it will just say with a project file. So that is saved. So now, sorry, I was a bit tired. So yes, that is basically the main part of how to make decent slap house. So let's move on to the actual intro of it. So using this, how I did this from that was I just simply highlighted using this and Control C, and you click somewhere else and you press Control V. Now what that does is it actually doubles. So yeah, it saves a copy, but if you want to delete something, you do the same again, highlight and then Control X. And it basically, all it does is it gets rid of that sample or whatever you don't want. So now basically you're going to start off with the actual bass of it. So as I think it's already amazing and it's just a sample, the easiest way to do it is to go into your mix window, and all you have to do is whatever you've got right now is the drop loop, or it could be a plugin. Say you were using any of these here, like for example Flex, I would highly recommend. Is a great plugin. It's free. There's a lot of other plugins that I could have, but obviously I only have a few. Obviously, I do recommend Massive, and Serum is apparently very good, but it does cost some money. There is a lot of alternatives as well. Sorry, my phone has gone off. Don't know why. But anyway, let's get to how. Oh, I'll just get rid of this. There we go. Job done. So now we have this on. Now we have that. That's just options. For example, I do like GMS. It does have a lot. It was pretty nice in general. Of course, I do play keyboard, but I was just pressing keys just for the fun of it. Let's just delete that right now. And basically, you always get these four. So what I do is I just delete them because I was just simply not use them. Just because they fill up the mixer track. They've already filled up with 5 tracks on the track basically. You'll understand. So let me get rid of these and I'll get back to you. All you do now that I've deleted those four is you go to track, and what will happen is I'll go to 1 because of the other 4 tracks that did occupy the first 4. And if you did hit track and you left those other 4, it would just go to 5 because it was another unused. It was just the first unused channel closest to 1. So yeah, one of the plugins I recommend is Fruity Reverb 2. Very good plugin. There is Valhalla Room. There is loads of more plugins that I highly recommend, which are in the description below. Links to buy them. And also, for me, I do recommend this because this is very good in terms of cathedral. You can make it wide. You can hear what it sounds like. It will sound a little bit too bassy, but we're gonna try piano reverb first. I do like to use other reverbs for other things, so to see if they actually do sound good. If they don't, I will make a custom reverb that will be very good for that kind of synth or whatever instrument you're willing to add reverb to. The only reason that I'm adding reverb is because it doesn't need EQ and it doesn't need compression. So that's just that out the way, and all you need to do is just decorate it and make it look nice. The only reason I'm using reverb is because it just stops every time it goes to break. So let me show you what it's like without reverb and with reverb. Let's just do that right now. You see what I mean? It sounds too dry. So let's add some reverb and we'll see what it sounds like, and we'll adjust it to the taste. It's a little bit too much. Let's do a small studio and see what it sounds like. Sounds a little bit too tinny. Large hole. Yeah, it doesn't sound that great, but I will adjust it and you will see the finished product of what I have done for this. Now, I used the Sats reverb, but now what you can do is you can actually save the preset that you do. So like any changes. So I basically just changed the dryness, the early release, the wetness, the bass I've made a lot higher, the high cut I've made surprisingly low. I haven't made too much changes to any of this. I'm just quite happy with the size of it right now and everything else. But try and fiddle with these. obviously play it again, make sure it does sound, sort of what you would like to hear in a slap house track. So yeah, we're just gonna save this now. So all we do in FL is very simple. If you have any other DAW, do try to replicate from replicate this into your DAW. What we're going to do is you're going to save the preset, or whatever place you save the preset as. As you can see, I have my saves that I've used with plugins. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put slap house bass, or just slap house main, or whatever you want to call it. Just I'll call it slap house reverb. Boom. It's nice. So now all you can do is you tap this and you click slap house reverb. You can tap onto sax reverb and you can see this is what I had before. To this one. Amazing difference. It does actually sound a lot more professional, and the sax reverb sounds a lot more tinny because the saxophone is actually a brass instrument, which is why it gave a weird noise to that. So yeah. So slap house normally has some vocals in it. So let's try and find a vocal. You can find a vocal online, but copyright reasons, you could change the tempo of it, you could change the pitch, and you would probably might get away with it. Obviously, it's showing that you're not actually trying to take that sample, you're trying to manipulate it into a different way, which is absolutely fine. So what we can do is we're going to find some acapellas. So same again, follow these up to 12 in the range and stretch. And that's just basically it. I'm just going to do these for all 4 of these. So I'll get to it. So as this is basically A minor, this sample, and my track is F minor, I am basically down pitching this by 404 cents. So 4 semitones essentially. So now we have all of our vocal clips. It's time to decipher which ones go first, second, third, or fourth in structuring the song. So this is just basically me getting the vocals in time so we can get the introduction done. So if tracks are going like too quick, for example, in this track right here, waiting for you, like the waiting sounds a lot quicker. What I like to do is I like to do smooth, and I like to space out the second verse. It might not sound good, but it will probably sound a lot better, depending if you want to use this trick or not. What we don't want is those like breaths that we keep getting, husky little breaths that. About this, and we just cut that out. Waiting for you. Waiting. If you think you took too much out, you can go back like that. Waiting. Waiting for you. Waiting for you. I'm holding my breath. Another good thing, while I'm still editing, is you can go to history. If this is for FL's users only, but also as well, if you're in Ableton, Logic, Pro Tools, you can use if there could be a history, you'd have to probably look that up as well. History, you can go back to as far as goodness knows, as far as from your last save, and you can actually see that. Now, speaking of which, I should save this as at the moment, because the vocal can be very, shall we say, tricky to handle at times. So basically, in terms of more vocals, you've got to try and make it sense, and that is possibly the hardest thing to do at this given stage of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the first one. After hearing them again and again, I'm going to use the second one and don't get that away. I'm going to use the second one and I'm going to use the last one as well to try and incorporate the two so they make sense, if you get what I mean. I'll just get back to what I'm doing and I will be back with you shortly. So let's simplify this. In terms of the drop, I like to make the drop first, and it gets me the idea of the overall track that we're going to make today. Plugin I really highly recommend is definitely Flex, because Flex can do a lot of things. Here is Flex here. It's got the Arcson 6 gate, which is absolutely free. You can do, there's just some examples. Obviously you can tap any key and it'll do pretty much everything. I don't have a MIDI keyboard myself, but if you do, you will know obviously how to use it. If you do play an instrument such as the piano, to do it myself, I'm doing it on keyboard, just in case you're asking why it doesn't sound right at all. So I'm just going to look through these presets, find something that does suit the slap house mood, and I will get back to you in a bit. Now we have two flexes here, and now what we want to do is we want to copy this. This is just to show you how to just do one, but doing one of them is quite boring. So what we want to do is we want to go like this, copy, and then you want to go to your layer, you copy it, it goes over the top of that. Now what you want to do is you want to go back to your flex, select that all, Control X, and that gets rid of that, and that little grey part, that's showing you the layer. So now on your track you'll see it looks empty. You might or might not hear it. Yeah, you won't hear it because it's on the wrong pattern. It's on layer. So what you want to do is you want to just get rid of all that, and you want to paint your, you want to get your layer on. So how you get your layer on, that's the question, is you basically, what you want to do is you want to, it's quiet because there is no plugin on it. So what you want to do is you want to keep the layer on. You want to hold on the two that you like. So you hold shift, and basically if you're an FL user this is probably helpful, but basically what I'm trying to say is however you layer it, just do that, and you want to get like at least 2, 3 or 4 depending on how much you want to make your leads sound different from everyone else. So this is just 2 layers that I'm using. One layer, I'm using this and this to make one layer. Layers are very important. So then what you want to do is click Set Children, but this is on layer. You can click anywhere else and you can click Show Children. You can go there, boom, there we go. We got your top and your bottom flex. So you should be able to hear it when we play it on the pattern. So let's get that pattern back up. It might or may not, might be a technical issue. Perfect. So now it works, and you can see that the top and bottom ones are lined up, and they are still basically playing that bass line that I put up. So let's put the full track up and let's try and get this intro finished, and then I'll show you the other parts that I'm blending in. So basically, that's just the intro. The intro is just basically going over, and then when you get your first verse, you can put your vocals in there. So for the purposes of this video, I am actually going to use the same vocals as before to save any faffing about, because I have spent literally nearly a whole hour doing all this. So yeah, let's just try and finish this track. See if this is right. It looks accurate. It's very important to check timings. So yeah, delete that. And you can paste and you can take it away, so that's good. Okay, so it's a good check, and just so it's like timing of vocals is very important in slap house, so that's what gets people engaged, basically. And what Imanbek does in his videos is he makes a small little break for 2 bars, and then he creates a sort of little build up leading up to the drop. So these 2 little neat things he does in a short space of time is actually very good. Sometimes he makes it longer, but in this case I'm going to try and make that so you can see how I'm making this slap house banger, as we say. First off, we've got to find like a sort of trap kick. So something like you can go to one shots here and kicks. That's nice. It's a nice little kick there. We're going to down tune it because it's an F sharp. That's all you're going to do. Oh yeah. Before that, let's stretch it and down tune it by 1. We'll hear what it sounds like here. Yes, it's nice. Now, let's try find some loops and some top drum loops. So, this top drum. So what we're going to do here, so what we're going to do is we're going to slow it down so we can match it to the 124 BPM that we have. Range 12, resample, stretch, and then we basically adjust the time. I like this little bit, and what we're going to do is we're going to get it right at the source, and one at the end, right about there. That's where it cuts out. So what we're going to do is just, we can cut this out and we can get some samples from that. So it'll sound pretty nice. And now we need to find a nice little snare. We could use the same snare, but it's up to us, really. That sounds nice. I like the Titan. Titan 1 is good. You could use that one. Or you can use any other snare, depending on what you want. So now, well, we're basically wanting to get rid of this little bit here. If you want to know how I'm getting this Slap House reference, very popular song by Imanbek is the Delicious remix. This is basically where I'm getting the inspiration for that from, to make a sort of little break section before I show you the actual drop that I made earlier on. And yeah, so let's get into the break section. So now you've done your very easy intro and verse. It's just simple like that. There's not much that you need in Slap House, which is why it's so popular. Is just because of how simple it is to make. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna see this little sort of breakdown beat. So now, um, we're gonna get two more bars away, just so we get time for a little build up, sort of, if you know what I mean. So now we're gonna space it out by another 2 bars, about there, and that gives us two little spaces there to play with. Gives us a little bit more room. So now I'm gonna find a good piano sample, and for this we're just gonna have a look at game start packs and instruments, and then you can have a look about this piano sample right here, Moonlight. Piano looks quite good. Now all we need to do is, as it's in 128 and it's got a different key, let's go 12, stretch, and yes, you'll get the whole gist of it of what I'm doing. So now what we're doing now is we're basically just making sure that it's on time. So what we do is best is shown right here. So we can see that it is obviously it's a little bit quicker, and we can visually see it as its BPM is a little bit different. So now what we do is we go the time and we stretch it right to about the end. There we go. Bada bing, bada boom, as we say. That's how I say, sorry about that. But, you know, it's good getting a job done that's, well, much good. So now, it's in the wrong key, and it's an F minor, so all we do is we sort it down to 200 cents, and or 198, close enough, it will sound like F minor. And yeah, so let's hear what it sounds like. And then we introduce this part again. We just copy that. to move this a lot further away. Need to move this. Check, see if I'm. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna move the piano, but that's alright. We can sort that out. It's no big deal, as long as it's not too much. I'm gonna move it to about 25. And double check. Yeah, it's on bar 25. That's good. So now all we need to do is move this piano back to about here. And yeah. So basically what I did was there I copied all that section, and that is an absolute time saver, which is why I taught you of the basics of Control C, which is copy, and Control V, which is paste. The basics that you should know, and as well as Control S to save your progress. So I basically copied the break. Basically, I've copied it, I've just pasted it, and I'm just going to see if it all fits well. And now we have actually finished the entirety of this track. It's just very, very simple. Let me break it down to you. So basically, this is the intro. Not much in the intro. There's not as beat yet, but that we'll introduce that shortly in the 9th beat. So that's basically your intro is just your quick 8 bars, and then your first verse is when the kick kicks in, and obviously I've only using like 2 samples. They were the only ones that really stuck out to the song itself. So basically I have gone to the normal, I've broke that down. This is just the verse, and then basically you've got your breakdown, as you can see the way I've structured that in the piano as well. It's only like 11 tracks, it's not a lot, and this is just a very basic view of it. And this is basically the break sort of thing. Before that's the break. This is the sort of build up section that you get. So you get ready for that almighty drop. This is just the drop section. The first part is where it just kicks and the snare, and then you add the little flare of the hi-hats in the second part, and then I do that again, and then it goes to another break section. It's just basically a copy and paste job. Didn't even take me long. This took me about an hour and a half maybe. And you can go, if you want to see how long you've actually been on there, you can go to if you want to see how long you've been on, you can actually go onto options, and you can go onto the project info. Actually took me 2 hours and 10 minutes. So yeah, it's amazing how you can just make something like that in a space of 2 to 10 minutes. Well, that's how long I've been recording myself for, but you will see the bits that you want to see. So yeah, I got a long day of editing ahead. So, and anyways, this is just the second part of the drop, and then that is it. You can add an outro, but to do that you would need to add, like, it's called an extended version. You can add the kicks, and just the bass line can go on for a little bit more, for another 8 bars. That is optional, but for this case I wanted to make it nice and simple and easy. So the track, I'm gonna let you hear it, and I hope you enjoy it. So have a good one and enjoy this slap house. Just gonna save it right now for you and just let you listen to it. watching. I recommend this Shash, I don't know how you say it, or Sa, it's saying. Effects are very important, including risers in slap house. You could test out with some risers, impacts, white noise, but in this it sounds as good as it is, and I don't think it really needs much effects. So yeah, basically these effects right here, I think are key in this sort of genre. And that's it, folks. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial on how to make slap house. I hope you learned something from it. You might, if you haven't, if you're not sure about something, make sure you comment down below on the comments, and I can't wait to hear what you have to say about it. FLP file. You can comment if you want an FLP file on it. You may want the audio, play around with it, remix it. If you want, just give me a shout on the comments as well. Thank you so much, everybody, and yes, let's get better at making music together. Namaste.